Welcome, everybody. So, welcome to Tech News. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Lovelesh Beeharry, who is kind of multiple CU, FOQ, Certilog, as well as someone who has kind of over a decade of experience in the software quality industry. Today, he's also the founder and current president of MSTQB, Mauritian chapter of ISTQB. He's also a software quality consultant and coach, conference speaker, and an ISTQB trainer. So welcome, Luvesh. So today we have the honor to have you. Any few tips before we start? Any small introduction about yourself you want to say?
Sure. Well, it's a shared pleasure for me as well, Hidayat and Abdallah, to be present here and to be talking about software testing. So, software testing is my passion. That's why I'm always up for, let's say, talking about it or giving conference. Well, about me, 14 years of experience in software testing. My competencies is quite varied. Actually, I started as a manual tester, then got into automation testing, then performance testing. Now I'm learning about security testing and also AI. I'm also, like, let's say, shared between being a developer profile and as well a tester because in automation, I code in Java, in Python, mostly Selenium. But I'm learning the new technology like Playwright, Cypress. There is also Whoopee.io, Puppeteer. So yeah, quite a lot of tools actually on the market. That's a bit about me. Yeah.
Sure, that's really nice. You mentioned about your knowledge. You mentioned about how it is in the software industry. So let's start with the topic being in Mauritius, and we are all Mauritian. So let's start with the topic around the landscape of what we have in software testing in Mauritius.
Sure. So it's been quite a ride actually in Mauritius because we started with software testing some 15, 20 years ago in companies that have been existed now for years, for a lot of years. Testing was not very much, let's say, in the limelight of IT. It was really like, if you don't like to do coding, then go into testing. You will fit in over there. I would like to say that it was like the dumping zone of IT. I started when I started. I applied for a developer, then I got into testing, and then I fell in love with testing. So I wanted to move forward with let's say professionalizing it because the mindset back then was testing was the last to be hired and the first to be fired. Why is that? Is because the last to be hired because testing was deemed to be the last step in the software development life cycle. We need to develop and then we need to test. So we would hire business analysts, product owners, and then on down the line we would hire testers. And why the first to be fired? Because this is a question that I got quite a lot in my career. If something goes wrong onto production, the first question that the manager or the director asks is, who tested that? Was it tested? So that's why we were the last to be the last to be hired, the first to be fired. So we moved a long way from that mindset with agile concept getting deeper and deeper into the Mauritian industry, with automation getting quite some push as well. With the globalization, we're working on different platform from different industries, from different countries, and the shift left as well, the shift left concept where we are doing testing well before even development. So we've moved quite a lot from that mindset, and this has been shaping the landscape of software testing. Now we have a lot of software testing courses, certification which are required, and a lot of more of competencies that are needed in a software tester. Well, just to name a few, in ISTQB we have around 20 schemes of certification, each dedicated to different skill set. For example, performance testing, security testing, usability testing. There is even one company in Mauritius that does automotive testing. So they're testing automotive software. So the car that you're driving most probably have been tested in Mauritius, the software that your car is using. So these are let's say, the widespread of the competencies that we have in Mauritius. Still, we do have some project which we are not able to back. those new projects like blockchain testing of AI system, and using AI to test software. This is again going in the future of testing, but we'll get into that discussion later on. But to summarize, actually, in the landscape of software testing, competency is the key. So staying relevant to the market, staying competent in the market, and always innovating is key. That's why on my side, me and my team actually founded MS2QB. It was founded in 2019 in Bangalore. That was in the General Assembly for IS2QB, and we've done quite some let's say innovation in terms of bringing forward certification. For example, initially before MS2QB, there were only two certification schemes that were valid for Mauritian. That was the foundation level, IS2QB, and then the test manager. Now we have all the 20 available. We registered even IREM, International Requirement Engineering Board, for product owners, because quality starts well before. So all these were quite promoted through MS2QB. We reduced the exam prices as well, because initially the foundation level was around 14,000 Mauritian rupee. Now it is around 8,000, 9,000 Mauritian rupee, which is now accessible to everyone. We are working with academics as well, with institute, to bring software testing as part of the curriculum of computer science for students and so on. So these are things that we are doing, and we are continuing to do. We are continuing this work on the Mauritian market. So there is still quite a lot to do. Yeah.
That's really nice, Lovelesh. We've talked about the landscape. We've talked about where we are, but let's talk a bit. You've mentioned last to be higher and first to be fire, which is very nice. But when we talk here, these were the mindset of having manual testing, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen it, and Abdallah is one of the experts in one of those tools as well. When we come to automation today, what's the demand? Is it the new, I would say, hype around it?
Right.
Is the new word to be looked at?
Well, automation it's not something new, to be fair. There have been tools that have been around for 25 years. I would take, for example, those tools were initially commercial tools. Selenium has been the first one to be on an open source mechanism and being free to the market. Has been around in the world for 2 decades already. So it's not something new. The new thing that is coming up is autonomous testing, but the demand for automation is still ongoing. It's still growing. Well, the way I see the market in Mauritius working is there's a ripple effect. We have an innovation somewhere in countries that we are working, for example, Europe or US. They start working on those projects, and then these wave of innovation come to Mauritius with a lag, right? So automation is now, let's say, in the market, the new buzzword for us, but it has been there for 2 decades already. Still, it has been shaping the market a lot, because now even a manual tester is expected to know at least some basics of automation testing, right? When we talk about automation, when we started with automation in another company, there was this fright that manual tester will fade out. And we see that even now, we still need manual tester. Just the skill set will change. So even a manual tester need to know about automation, not necessarily the hardcore coding or like to be a developer, but they need to have the basic concept of automation. So the demand of automation testing in Mauritius is rising. And now this is the preferred profile for a lot of employers. A lot of companies actually seek manual tester, but having a knowledge of in automation, not necessarily a certain tool, but having the basic knowledge. For example, XPath, how to extract an XPath, how to extract CSS selector, and so on. So yeah, this is a skill that will be for sure future-proof, and it's a skill that is meant to evolve, because the way that we used to do automation in the past is not the same now. I still remember when we started with automation was positional, like move the cursor from to the right on 50 pixel to the left, and that changed now. Now we have relative export, we have friendly export. We have friendly export, like we can specify the automation engine to select a text box which is on the left, on the right, in the top, or whatever, of a certain reference object on the page. So you see that the demand is growing, the technology is evolving. So this is the challenge of an automation engineer. They need to still not be attached to it. So the technology, they still need to keep the mind open, to be willing to change technology, to learn and to innovate. Yeah, so it's a rising demand in automation in any case.
Yeah, that's kind of the truth. We see it on the job posting. So that's true. The other one, which is kind of a very, I would say, buzz topic. Sometime we look at it, we talk about AI. But you mentioned something interesting at the start. You've talked about using AI to test AI and AI in automation as well. So if you can just elaborate on that.
Sure. Well, AI again, it's a buzzword of the ChatGPT. Again, it's not something new on the market. Machine learning, neural network. These are the backbone of what we term now the new buzzword AI, artificial intelligence. These are the backbone of it, and it has been there in part of the computer science studies for years, for decades as well. Now we are seeing the emergence of this technology because it's becoming more and more accessible, more and more easy to use. Um, so it has affected a lot of field, and testing has not been indifferent to AI. Um, the quick implementation of AI in testing was in the automation part, where we now we now use the term of self-healing test. This is something which is let's say mind bending. A test that is supposed to fail should not fail. A test which is failing because of a false positive, it means that the test should pass, but because of, let's say, wrong coding or a change in the software and the test, it fails. So the test is able to heal itself. So instead of failing, they're able to um, counter that failure, heal themselves, and then execute so that it passes. So how does it work? Each time that you're running those tests, there is an algorithm behind. It's known as the random forest algorithm. So it composes of a lot of data structure, trees data structure. That's why it's called a forest. So there is a lot of trees in that data structure. And each time that you run it, there is a new node being created in that random forest, and that stores the information about the object. So a lot of object, the whole page is being, let's say, modeled in that random forest algorithm. And each time that there is a failure, let's say an element was not found, so other properties, the machine will try to learn from those random forests and will try to find other properties that matches the object, gives that automation engine an alternative locator. It can be in terms of an XPath or CSS selector or whatever. And then the test will continue. So it will use that other alternative locator to continue the test. So this is known as self-healing, and it is using machine learning and artificial intelligence behind to simulate that automatic generation on runtime of those locators. So this is one simple application of AI in testing. There are much more now. Now we are talking about test case generation. So this is where we get deeper into the neural network. So we are able now on some tools. One of the tools that I've been demoing lately was ApplyTools Eyes. So it's one of the tools that can generate test case. You give a user story and it generates the test case. Once you validate those test cases, you can even have the machine to write the test case and execute it on the platform. So yeah, test case generation, where we use to apply techniques like, let's say, boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning. All these are done by machines now. And with this step, when we combine self-healing, test case generation, automatic execution, we come to autonomous testing. So this is the real new buzzword in testing, in the field of testing. It's not automation, it's not AI, but autonomous testing. It is the concept where a test can be conceived, generated, designed, executed, and reported by solely a machine. Only, let's say, a tester would supervise and process that pipeline. Doesn't mean that it will replace a tester. It means that the tester will need to get upskilled. Again, we are in the technology field, so technology we know is ever evolving. We were in functional programming, then got into object-oriented programming, and so on. So there is constant evolution as well in technology. So the skill set as well need to continuously evolve. So autonomous testing is the new buzzword, and this is something that is relatively new. Apply tools are doing it. They are exploring it, and they have a working engine right now. It's only for, let's say, simple user stories, but they are trying to train the bot behind with complex user stories. There is also one of my friend doing the same project, Whoopee, WOPEE.io, Whoopee.io. So they are also in autonomous testing, and it's working quite well. I've seen a demo as well for them, and it's progressing very very well. And they have the capability of self healing and so on. So you see, AI is let's say in all part or in all activities of testing, the generation, the execution, the reporting, and so on. So this will solve a lot of problems. And this also means that testers will need to have more out of the box thinking, so more analytical skill, more better outlook of the big picture of what we are trying to test, and better judgment in terms of the severity of defects and priority of fixing those defects. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about AI.
Just a quick question. Yes,
Sure.
you mentioned that AI can do all of this in autonomous testing, but I was wondering, let's say you have a feature, you have your navigation bar, you want to add something in it. Can the AI determine that, yeah, there has been a change? For example, we now have a multi-language selector in it. Can AI determine it and replace it?
Yes. So this is where we are getting into the visual AI testing. So again, I will mention one tool, Apply Tools. This is one of the tools that I was quite impressed of. So they take, let's say, snapshot. Let's say you run the test today, they take snapshot of all the objects. And again, using behind the algorithm like a random forest tree, they keep all the properties of all the objects, right? And then there is a change. There is a change. Let's say the change is not even visual. There is a change in only just a property of it. It will flag it out. It will tell you what was the previous value and what is the new value. Then you can validate it. Then you can set it as the new baseline, so that when you run the test in the future or the next day, then this new baseline will be compared with whatever is there on the software. This is not even the visual part. Now the visual part, if those baselines are in terms of, let's say, images that are kept in terms of object, like still object pattern. And then we compare the SUT. SUT is the system and the test. We compare the SUT and the baseline. If there is a, let's say, glitch in terms of an object was supposed to be in French and it is in English, that will be flagged out. For example, enter your password is appearing like capturer vos mots de passe or something like that. So it will flag it out. And then you would be able to either validate it or report it. And when you click on report as well, it's the software that will report it. You don't even, because they already have the snapshot, they already have the step to reproduce and so on. So even that report will just be on a click on a button to report the defect. So that's automated visual testing using AI, still using AI. It's not pixel by pixel comparison, still using AI. Yeah. Hope that answers your question, Abdallah.
Yes, very good. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thanks, David. That's super interesting. When we start to merge things which are the buzzword with what the current situation start to be very interesting. So we've seen like evolvement within testing from manual to automation with the vision with AI getting in. With that term you're using a lot, self-healing, which is kind of a new things. But what we see to be like the next future of software testing? What do you see that? How do you see that?
Yeah. So I would take again the same analogy. When we introduce automation, there was a lot of fear in the market that now manual tester will fade out and so on. We saw that was not that. It's not the case. Still not the case. There is a lot still of manual testers, but they are expected to have some knowledge of automation testing. And now with autonomous testing with AI, there will be new job profile that will come onto the market. There will be AI architect, because we'll need to optimize the way that the AI is interacting with the SUT. For example, you're using AI to test a system. We need to make sure that the AI bot is first very much learned, so machine learning. That will need an architect or an AI analyst to train that bot, that the machine, and then we'll need to design the AI in a way that it is optimized, so that the interaction with the SUT is done in the most, let's say, with the least probe effect. So the AI is not impacting the performance when doing the test and so on. This is one of the challenges that we have right now when we are using this system, because the AI system is quite consuming in terms of memory, in terms of processing capability, and so on. And there is a lot of search that need to be done. A lot of data structure, data need to be cross-referenced in real time, and decisions need to be taken. I'll take again, for instance, the example of self-healing. This example of self-healing, in the case where a locator is failing and then we need to get an alternative locator, we can't wait for 1 minute or something like that to get an alternative locator. That need to be done in seconds. And when you have a random forestry of thousands or millions of trees in it that you need to cross-reference, this need to be done in a very short amount of time. Otherwise, the test will time out or the locator will time out. So new job profile will emerge. So there will be the one, for example, AI architect. There will be an AI analyst that will need to design, that will need to train as well. There will be autonomous testers. Those person will need to have a good understanding of the tool, very in-depth analytical skill, because they would need to have skill set on the product itself. They need to understand the product from A to Z, because a software tester still need to be an SME of the product, so a subject matter expert on the product itself. So that would be one of the skill set in the future, or most, let's say, prized skill set for a tester, to be the SME, to know the tool, and as well to have this analytical skill. And always, as there is always innovation down the line, so an out of the box thinking of what the user could do and what could bring, let's say, risk to the SUT, because in software testing we deal with risk, so we need to have this outlook, the bigger picture of understanding of the risk and so on. Security will play a big role, for sure. Blockchain technology will play a big role again. These skill set will sooner or later be in great demand in Mauritius. I see it like this, because we started getting projects like that, and we are not able to bag it in Mauritius because we don't have competences. And other companies from other countries, our neighbors, India, South Africa, they are able to bag these projects. So yeah, we would need these competences. And just to add on this, why I'm talking about competences a lot for the future of testing is, well, what I see for Mauritius is we cannot compete now again with the same old package deal that we had. For example, we can't say we are just bilingual English and French. We should get the project because we can speak English and French. That won't work. We can't say that we should get the project because the taxation policy in Mauritius is more lucrative to investors. So 15% corporate tax is not enough now, because quality is what they are seeking. Some investors are willing to invest in other countries where the taxation is higher, but they are getting higher quality. They are fine with it. For example, Dubai is rising quite well in that prospect, because there is 0% tax over there, and people are getting more and more competent. We can't even just back project on our time zone. We can say we are GMT +4, sure. So business can work. For example, American companies can work 24/7 when they have a center here in Mauritius, but that's not the key factor, because other countries they are willing to work on shift as well. There is a lot of of countries neighboring Mauritius in the same time zone. I would take Rwanda for example. This is growing quite fast over there. The QA community, the competencies that are growing over there. I've done training over there, and I know the mindset as well of the, let's say, youngsters of the generation which is upcoming. So that's amazing, and we need to foster the same as well in Mauritius. We need to still stay competent, so that that's the key word. The competency will bring project, not our GMT plus 4, not our bilingual ability, or not our taxation policy. It's our people. That's our resource that we have, and that will bring project in Mauritius and secure the IT or strengthen the IT sector for, let's say, I would say only for the next decade, because I don't know what's the next wave of innovation that will happen. Yeah, so that's the future I see.
That's really interesting. I like it when we put competency and quality in terms. That's very important. But coming to that, you mentioned a very good term. You mentioned about our people to be competent, right? So you as yourself experience, expose, and both local and international. What would be the 3 tips you would today give a QA? 3 main. I know you can give a lot, but let's keep it with only 3 main.
Let's take the premium. Well, something that kills the IT industry, not only the software testing, but the IT industry, is comfort zone. I've seen that a lot with a lot of my friends. Once they settle in a comfort zone, it's very difficult to let go. It's very difficult, and it's the same for testing as well. Once you're settled in, let's say, manual testing, and you think about automation, you say it's only about coding and so on. So you're not willing even to give it a try. So this is what kills, let's say, innovation. This is what kills as well the next step of bagging a project or getting better and better and staying still up to the top notch of the market. So that kills the industry. So comfort zone. So I would say the first skill would be continuous learning and unlearning as well. Unlearning is important because we are in IT. Again, evolution is everywhere. I learned about positional automation. I had to unlearn that to learn the new way of doing automation with using friendly locators and so on. Now I have to unlearn that to learn the new way of doing automation on the right on Cypress. So yeah, the continuous sequence of learning and unlearning is very important. That's key for a tester. The second one would be the out of the box thinking, because we would tend to say a developer has a technical mindset. A tester need to have a quality mindset. They need to think of scenarios which is out of the box. This is what will create value in the future. You need to have this foresightedness to see risk well before they happen, because we are being paid as software testers to do that. It's not only that when the system is hacked or the system has a security breach that, we need to test that as well in the next release. That's too late then, because that need to be tested well before to prevent that security risk from happening. And that's foresightedness, and that's out of the box thinking. And the third one is analytical skill. That will be the future-proof skill set that I would need all the QA actually to foster. To always ask, to have this analytical skill, you always need to have this curiosity in you, to always ask questions. As a QA, you should not be fearing to ask questions, analyze those questions, and then formulate, let's say, the next level of question that may generate. So analytical skill, connecting the dots together, having the big picture, foresightedness, and again, not settling in a comfort zone. I guess I gave more than 3 tips, but these would be the main key points.
Sure, that's super interesting. You mentioned one. I just want to comment just one few seconds on that. It's like you mentioned about a lot about the getting the bug earlier. I remember during one of the test conference that I went through, I was talking about the cost of a bug. This is something which costs a lot of money. As PM can see it very easily whenever you have this bug coming from live, which hasn't been detected on your SIT or dev, on your UAT, but directly on live, this costs a lot. And this is something I think that out of the box mindset, you don't need to be technical. It's just you need to sit, try to use a bit of this part of the brain get things
Yes.
out. That's
Yes.
super interesting. Abdallah, anything you would like to add?
No, maybe just one thing. How do you have a manual tester, like you've said, being in his or her comfort zone for some time? What's the easiest way to shift to test automation? Why I'm asking, because I see a lot of work in small and big companies, and there is a demand for test automation, like you mentioned multiple times, but I don't really see that manual testers are able to do it. Maybe the new ones, the new freshers or juniors, but the other ones are a bit reticent. So, what's your best
Yes.
advice?
Well, commitment is the key over here. Commitment is the key. And again, the willingness to learn should always be like a fire. You should not let it burn out. If it burns out, then you know that you're outdated for the market. So commitment is the key. Now what we have, well, I couldn't say that. Let's say when I was in school, access to the internet was quite limited. We had to go to the libraries to learn things and so on. Now with internet, with YouTube, we have a wealth of knowledge. We have a wealth of knowledge. If anyone would like to start with automation, let's say we are talking about automation, the best way to do it is to start with record and play. So the simple record and play would give you a feel of what you could do with automation. So I'll take, for example, Selenium. They have Selenium ID. It's now just a browser plugin, right? 15 years ago, I wrote something on record and play. I just wanted to have my name, like top rank in the African community. So I would run automation again and again on my PC just to Google search my name. So anytime there was someone typing Lovel, they would get my name as suggestion, the first one. And then Google changed their algorithm. Now it's filtered even by MAC address. So I need, let's say, thousands of computers to get the same possibility. But that was where I got curious about automation, because I saw a lot of value in that. And automation is not only for testing. I've used automation for a lot of things. It's just understanding what you could do with tools. For example, in Selenium, I was using Selenium to download, let's say, documentaries and so on my PC when I was at university. So I'll run it at the start of the day, and it will go onto the platform. It will download ebooks, it will download a lot of things, and then when I returned back home, everything was downloaded, so I don't need to wait. And I was quite addicted to online shopping as well. So I would search. Let's say I need to buy an SSD, a solid state device drive or whatever. I need to search on eBay, on AliExpress, on Outerbugs, on a Geek, whatever. So I need to find the best deal, right? So I'll put a keyword, I'll write an automation script. It will go on, search on all these platforms, and it will send me by SMS. I use the Twilio integration. It will send me by SMS the links that were shortlisted with the lowest price and lowest shipping. And I made quite some saving on by using these things. So you can see automation is not only limited to testing. It's I would say it's a mindset. It's a way of life. It's a way of life where you could use technology to ease a lot of things that right now is taking a lot of time. And that's the essence of being a test automation engineer. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. It's not something you do; it's something you are.
You are
The
exactly,
mindset.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's good for me.